Yes, never fun when you lose money, but I had a $1,200 losing day trade and I want to share some learning lessons from that. Definitely designed for a beginner. So just to respect your time, if you're some sort of hardcore veteran, I mean, I suppose there's maybe something here you could learn, but this is certainly geared towards those just getting started. Maybe expectations are a little out of line with reality. So that's who the main demographic for this video is going to be. So with that being said, I want to show you the trade first, and then I want to give you the 3 learning lessons, but also I want to show you the results of these lessons, right? It's one thing for me to just start to say stuff and kind of just sit here and talk and offer up a bunch of theory, but I want to show you that this theory actually does produce good real life results. But let's first see the losing trade of $1,200. A couple of quick notes. I'm trading options. That's really beside the point because this applies to anything that you're trading, whether that's stocks, futures, forex, crypto, or options. But I'm trading options here. And if you're not familiar with how my screen works, what you're gonna wanna be looking at is over here, because after I am able to purchase the option, this is where the numbers start to flash around, and that's where you'll ultimately wanna be paying attention to. And then of course you can watch the technical chart up here too if you wanna watch how these candlesticks continue to form. So let's go ahead and get this rolling and let's see what happens. So I am now in, and again, over here, this is where the numbers are going to be flashing all around. There's the movement of what I just bought. And let's just see how this goes. Well, you know how it goes, but one of these situations where I was wanting to see the price bounce up some. So that's what I was ideally hoping for. I wanted to see these candles go green, but as you can see, as I say that, they are going red, not the direction that I was wanting to see. Still trying to give it a chance to bounce, see if it wants to show me some green candle. And right there, it's trying to come upwards, trying to act like it wants to be strong, but you can see there, that red candle is, well, hanging in there. So you can see, I mean, does it want to bounce? It's coming up, there's some green. Can I get some more green? And you can see ultimately that was a bit of a tease. The market's just playing with my emotions right there, acting like, hey, you know what, yeah, we're gonna go green. And then you can see there the candle goes red, and really starts to go red. And I have to hop out for a losing trade of $1,200. So learning lesson number 1, losing trades happen, and that's a good thing.
Come on, what?
Now let me explain more by what I mean. First off, I've been doing this for a very long time, working with traders and everything like that. That doesn't necessarily mean that I know what I'm doing. I'm just saying that if you're anything like me and anything like many other people that I've heard from, is there is this idea that, well, losing is bad, so you don't want to lose because if you lose, you have failed. And again, if you're anything like me, you're a competitive person, grew up playing sports, well then yes, in sports, losing is definitely a bad thing, but that's not how it works in trading. Losing is a good thing. Losing correctly is going to allow you to, you know, stay in the game. It's going to allow you to stay alive.
I'm alive. I'm alive.
And that's lesson number 2. Yes, losing is bad if it's totally just degenerate losses, but losing is good when they are controlled losses. You've got to be able to take disciplined and controlled losses. So again, number 1, losses happen. It doesn't mean you're a bad trader if you take a loss. Kind of. That's where we shift into number 2. It does make you a bad trader if your loss is just a degenerate gamble. You have no idea what you're doing. It blows up your account. But if it's a controlled loss, a disciplined loss, that's what's going to keep you alive. That's what's going to allow you to continue to survive in the markets. And then the final learning lesson here, and again, I'm going to show you the results of all this, is you've got to be able to have a system. Not only be able, you've got to have a system. You've got to be able to avoid this situation. And again, I can't speak for everybody, but I remember being here, is you take a loss and then, okay, well, I'm going to go try this. Okay, I'm going to go do that. And you're just hopping all over the place. There's zero rhyme or reason behind anything that you're doing. So even if you do take a controlled loss, because there's no system, well, now you just go and try something else. And then you try something else. Now, it's obviously even worse if there's no controlled loss and then you go and just try different things. But that's where these things are all flowing together. Each one of these lessons flows from the previous one. And there are always asterisks within each one, right? First one, asterisk. Well, yeah, I mean, losses are good if they're controlled. In this situation, the asterisk being, well, that's great if you have a controlled loss, but if you don't have a system in place, well, then your controlled loss is probably just going to turn into a bunch more controlled losses because you have no rhyme or reason within yourself, within how you approach the market. So you've got to have a system. Just a fancy way of saying you've got to have a strategy. And I hope none of this is mind-blowing to you, but I speak from experience, not only from myself, but again, from hearing from other people where they show up, they think losses are bad, so they refuse to take them, they get all competitive, but then even if they do take them, they think, well, I took a disciplined loss. Look, I set a stop loss and I followed my stop loss. Again, that is better, you're progressing, but you're still shortchanging yourself because those same people will go out there and then they'll tell me about the next trade. I'm thinking, wait, how do you go from doing that type of trade to this type of trade? And it just, you gotta have a system, and you've gotta have a system that you believe in.
I find your belief system fascinating.
And what is that system? Well, that's where everybody is gonna be a little different. That's why there is no holy grail of trading. There's no magical system because everybody is going to be a little different in terms of what they feel comfortable believing. Because that's ultimately what it is, right? You have a system, you have a strategy, you've got to believe in it. If you're doing something that's super high risk, even if it works, if you're not emotionally okay with it because there's just way too much money on the line, there's too much risk, then you're never going to believe in it because you're going to be sweating bullets and you're never going to be able to follow that system. So it's got to be a system that you can mentally understand and mentally absorb as you're going through the trade management process. So that was a whole lot of words. Try to break it up with some, funny little commentary there. But now let's actually show you the results of this. So I took that $1,200 loss. Was it fun? No. Was it controlled? Yes. Do I have a system? Yes. And here's the power of a system. Now I'm not going to show you all the remaining trades, but I'll show you a couple more and show you the end results. So once again, you'll be wanting to pay attention to this area of the chart. And in this situation, I want to see the price go down. So I now want to see some red candles in this situation. So let's get this trade going and let's see how it turns out. Again, I want to see this go down and be red. And if you just want to watch these numbers flashing over here, the number that shows up there is the final amount of the trade. So you can watch whatever you want, but again, I want it to be red. The candle, that is. I want the candle here to start to show up and go in the downwards direction. So some patience being required. Does this thing want to start to come down and be red? Not looking the best right there, but now red starts to show up. More red starts to show up. More red shows up, and right there, I take a $1,000 winning trade. Now, one quick note here, and I'm not going to speak for you. Maybe you're better at it than I am, but this would be an example of maybe we're a little different. For me, when I go down into the red, the temptation is, well, I want to get it all back in the next trade. And that has got me in so much pain. Now, sometimes it does happen depending on the size of the loss. But for me, my goal is never, okay, take a losing trade, next trade, I got to get it all back. That's for me, that's not how it works. I just make messes of myself when I do that. For me, it's just trade you guessed it, trade the system. Let the system do its thing. So that's what I did here. Sure, I realized the loss was 1,200. My gain there was 1,000. But you know what? I was never trying to get it entirely back. In fact, I would have been okay with 500, but I saw some other things that made me think, you know what? I think I can get more than 500, and I was right, and I took 1,000. So one of those things where I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to get it all back, but for me, I would say be very careful in that regard. And for me, if I'm always trying to get it all back the next trade, that's just not good. So there's one trade, there's a system in motion. Let's look at another trade. Now I have taken a couple other trades. So at this point, I am back to break even because I took a couple other trades. They actually didn't go that well. They're still green trades, but each for $100. So now I'm actually back at break even. So this will be the final trade that I show you. And let's see if I can get back into the green. So I am in. I want to see this come down. That's my goal. That is what will make me money. I don't need it to come down a whole lot. And then again, over here are the flashing numbers. And then right there, I am out. And you can see right there, put $300 in my pocket. And therefore, I am now up $300 on the day, minus some commissions. There you go. That is why losses are good. What type of losses? Controlled losses. And then that being under the umbrella of having a system in place so you're not out there doing random things. You know what sort of pathway to continue to follow. Now, I'm not saying that you're always going to get back to green or anything like that. But what I am saying is please, as a beginner, as somebody who's getting started, don't approach the market and bring over your kind of competitive nature of sports to losing is bad, refuse to lose, never give up, never surrender, all those things that are like great, probably in like 98% of the other parts of life. Those are fantastic attitudes to have. But when it comes to trading, terrible, terrible attitude. Be ready to surrender. Be ready to wave the white flag. Be ready to give up. Because when you do that and you take those controlled losses, well, as you saw here, you allow yourself to stay alive. You keep a manageable hole. And in this situation, I was able to climb out of the hole and put myself up $300. And that all was still a little under 90 minutes. So all that considered, I mean, I'd like to make a little bit more, but still, when you stop and think about it, 90 minutes, $300 is kind of crazy. I would never go up to somebody, I don't think you would either, would go up to somebody that's making 50 bucks an hour and be like, you know, I made $300 in 90 minutes. I'm not very happy about it. No, you would never do that because that would make you seem like a detached, greedy savage. But so even with all that, you know, the losing trade and everything, still, I thought good, solid money. So I hope this helps. I hope there are some things here that can reframe your mind. Like I said, maybe some of you, your expectations were a little out of line with reality, but keep these learning lessons in mind. You got to go out there, build a system, figure out what's going to work best for you. If you want to learn more about seeing what I have to offer, just go to claytrader.com. There's a community. There's all sorts of educational content there. So check that out if you want, but get out there, realize these lessons, implement these lessons, and you're going to give yourself a chance to stay in the game and ultimately be able to thrive and build your account. So as always, hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell so you can see when more of these videos are released. If you like those trades that I showed you, I have an entire playlist of live trade videos. So like I said, by hitting that notification bell, you'll be alerted when new live trade videos are put out also. So thanks for watching. Get out there and realize losses are a good thing. Well, controlled losses. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.